Letter 1, Excerpt 10. Summary. What Jesus saw and felt in the desert. Continued. In majestic visions, he saw that every living entity was composed of cells working continuously in an entirely harmonious spirit of cooperation to produce the substance and various organs of the inner system and the outer appearance of the complete living entity. He saw that universal mind was the only true reality behind all manifestations of individualized form. Having seen so clearly, beyond all dispute, that the creative power of universal mind was everywhere, within the infinity of the skies and active within earthly forms as well, I was inwardly directed to look around me and saw only gravel and rock. Then, suddenly, I was presented with a picture of a beautiful land in which every conceivable plant, shrub and tree were growing. Even birds flitted in the trees and animals grazed the grass. Watching this vision with amazement, I saw that plants and trees, every one of them, and yes, even birds and animals in reality, were composed of hundreds of communities of infinitely tiny entities. Your modern scientists call themselves working continuously in an entirely harmonious spirit of cooperation to produce the substance and various organs of the inner system and the outer appearance of the complete living entity. I contemplated this wonderful activity for a long time, although time was no longer of any importance to me. As I gazed and gazed, I thought, who would have guessed that within the outer covering of fur, feather, skin, there was such intense activity within tiny communities of entities, working together to give life, form, nutrition, healing, protection, endurance to the bodies of so many different species. It was the intelligently performed work which attracted my attention. Therefore, work, I realized, was an integral part of the creative power activity from the very least entity, cell within living systems, to the most advanced entity in the universe, man himself. In the systems of all living things, all the labor was under the direction, ultimately, of the divine creative power, in whom were the plans and designs of creation. I saw that these plans and designs were in reality consciousness forms and could be called words, since each word signifies a very special consciousness form. Hence, the original word in creative power consciousness becomes manifested in the visible world. The word, and therefore the consciousness pattern, remains within the divine creative mind, continually bringing forth its own. I could see then that everything in the universe did live, move, and have its being in the creative power of universal mind, which was infinite and eternal, and was the only true reality behind all manifestations of individualized form. I was filled with praise that everything in the world was out of and yet within this superlative creative power of divine mind. I marveled at all the secret activity forever taking place in all living things, including human bodies, and wondered how it was that such infinitely small units worked intelligently according to specified plans to produce, with no mistakes, the proposed form, tree trunk, leaf, flower, fruit, insects, birds, animals, and human bodies. I then realized, even more clearly, that the creative power was the very source of all intelligent activity in the universe. If mankind possessed intelligence, it was only because he had drawn it from the universal source of all being.
Hello, girls and guys, how are you today? I'm Michael-san. Oh, it's so good to be here again in a sunny morning here in San Francisco, Colombia, close to Bogota. So, good morning to all of you, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are right now. Well, today we continued with our readings of letter 1 and read excerpt 10. This is the second reading of the narrative of Jesus' experience in the desert. And that was maybe the beginning of his, as narrated in the letter, the beginning of his experience after seeing that the universal creative power of mind was everywhere and was everything, was in everything, in the infinite skies and in you. After having seen all that, Jesus had this vision of such a beautiful, beautiful land where all kinds of plants, of trees, shrubs, and all forms of vegetation and all kinds of animals were living and thriving, and animals grazing the grass. And he had this vision where he saw the cells of the bodies in operation, of every body, vegetal, animal, and also human, his own cells. And he saw that in addition to being, which is our the ultimate stuff we're made of, which is energy, the physical body is composed of hundreds and hundreds of communities of tiny entities, which are the cells that we call today, working together continuously in total harmony and cooperation to give life, to give form, to give growth, to give nutrition and nourishment and protection to the bodies and healing. Such a magnificent world we live in. Isn't that, dear brother, dear sister, totally mysterious? Our life in itself is a total mystery, and yet such a joyful, such a wonderful, such a loving, such a kind mystery, such a blessing. And I just say this and invite you, dear brothers, to just experience the mystery of life and realize how limited our vision of life is, and how limited it has been for many years, and mostly because we have been, framed into a cage of thinking through religion and other teachings that we have been, that has been hammered in our heads since we were little boys. And it is time to wake up to the wonderful mystery that life is, and that you are, dear brother, that you are, dear sister. You are an eternal, immortal being in a long, long journey of recalling, of remembering what you truly are. And for, despite how strange it might sound, dear brother and dear sister, you are nothing less, nothing more a God. Dear sister, you are nothing more and nothing less a goddess. All the power of divinity is inside you. Wake up to that reality. Come on, muster the courage to do that. If you're watching this video, it is because there is a call in your heart. A call in your heart to look for that something more that you know that there is. Beyond that which you have been taught. And because you are realizing now that your life is deeply, deeply in the bottom, in your guts, unhappy. It's that there's something, that there must be something more, much more to it. Yes, that is the truth. Okay, thanks so much for being here with me today. This is my comment on the reading today. And please give me a like if you like this video. Hit the button below to subscribe, and thanks so much for sharing with friends. I love you all, I truly do, and hope to see you in my next video very soon. Hasta la vista, amigos.
Es el canto del sol que brilla aquí en la tierra. Eres el viento cósmico. Eres la lluvia en las estrellas. Eres el agua, el aire y el fuego. Eres la luna y el sonido en el silencio. Eres el árbol, la flor y eres la piel.